Strange striped horses are caught in a permanent dance of conflict and survival. Zebras, the wild horses of Africa, must run a 300-mile gauntlet of death. Waves of zebras are caught in a desperate, never-ending race for survival. They trace ancient paths, creating a delicate lacework in the sand, forming patterns in the grass. Along the Linyanti River, the first rains are like a trigger, releasing the herds from their self-imposed captivity. When they emerge from the mists, they are ready to begin their migration. In Botswana, permanent water is scarce, with huge tracts of barren wilderness between the rivers. The unfenced Chobe National Park allows unrestricted access to all the animals. The zebra's journey begins when they leave the northern river system called Linyanti and head southeast for the lush grassland of Sabuti. Ahead lies a route scattered with countless hazards. Within days, the first herds start arriving. Here, most of them were born, and many will die. This is a complex and exquisitely organized society. Family units called kinship groups are typically one stallion with 6 females and their foals. They always walk in strict order of hierarchy, the dominant mare followed by the second female, down the line to the most subordinate. Any violations in this order are dealt with viciously by the one just ahead. Only the stallion can move freely along the line. Like regiments in a huge army, the kinship groups take up their places along the edge of the waterholes. Rainwater has collected in depressions made by elephants in the dry seasons. In the north, the zebras have not needed to gather around waterholes for months, and when they first arrive here, they are shy and skittish. Around the pan, a young zebra foal is lost. confusing panorama of dazzling, chaotic stripes dance before his eyes. From birth, the foal has registered his mother's unique stripe pattern. No two zebras will have the same combination of stripes. Each is like a fingerprint. When the foal can't recognize his mother's body print, he calls. Others smell him to confirm that he does not belong to them. No other zebra mare will ever adopt a lost foal. The foal's voice is also uniquely his, but more important than sound and smell, the body print is the zebra's means of identification. His survival depends on instant recognition. The proof of the pattern theory is the moment of contact. When the foal sees the familiar combination and finds his mother, he has no more need to call or smell her. He knows he is where he belongs. Within days of the first rains, tiny termites that take flight only once in their lives fill the air. Within minutes, they will discard their flimsy wings and get on with the business of courtship. But for now, Savuti becomes like a fairy tale land, filled with live confetti and striped rocking horses. But Savuti also has a dark side. These grasslands are notorious for lions. The arrival of the zebras works like a magnet for the hungry. In their eagerness, they hunt during the heat of the day. In the confusion, the herd is scattered. Kinship groups are thrown into chaos. The stallion very quickly realizes that a pattern is missing from his herd. The male's anxious calls inadvertently lead the separated mare deeper into the trap, and the ambush is sprung. This is the stallion's favorite mare, and when she escapes, he greets her affectionately. Sometimes nature deals a cruel hand. In the midst of all the lions, most of the zebras are about to give birth. Pregnancies are timed to mature shortly after the first rains. This way, the nutrient levels in the grass are at their highest when the young are born. But they'll have only 6 weeks before the richness of the grass fades. The mares usually lie down to give birth. Now the stallion plays a vital role. As she gives birth, the mare is particularly vulnerable. The stallion keeps watch about 50 yards away. If he gives an alarm call, the mare can put off the moment of birth for hours if necessary. Besides predators, he also keeps other zebras away. During a migration, it is difficult for a mare to isolate her newborn foal from the herd, but it must see only her body during the first minutes after birth. If it imprints on another, it is doomed, for the foal will follow the stranger instead of its mother and soon die. The mare shields the foal with her body, preventing it from seeing any other patterns. The foal's tender young brain works like a sponge to absorb the unique pattern of its mother's stripes. It's as vital to survival as learning how and where to nurse. Finally, the foal knows its mother and where to find milk. For now, at least, it is safe. Over the next few weeks, the zebra herd suddenly increases by 25% or more. Most of the mares give birth in Savuti, and the herd lingers here, allowing the new foals to gain strength and experience. As the grasslands now become dotted with new life, each night brings with it an intense and inescapable darkness. Here in Savuti, the abundance of new food in the form of young zebras draws the hunters. Hyenas test each herd, not for infirmity, but for the vulnerable youth. The mothers can seldom save their young, and any rescue attempt after a critical 30 seconds is futile. Many times each night, the silence is shattered by the calls of the dying and their destroyers. Perhaps the accidental death by the flying hooves is a better ending. Within the first 10 days on these plains of death, at least 150 foals are taken. In a frenzy to consume, even the lions join in the massacre of the young. Adult zebras seldom try to rescue foals from lions. The constant chasing and chaos results in spontaneous abortions. In this case, rare twins were dropped prematurely to lighten the extra burden on a mare whose own survival must come before her unborn foals. The well-ordered society of zebras is thrown into disarray each night. The haunting calls echo across the grassland like a lament for the fallen. Each morning, zebras spend hours searching and calling, trying desperately to regroup. They take stock of their losses and reestablish dominance structures around vacated positions in the hierarchy. Each kinship stallion is a tireless warden. He displays, with a threatening head-down herding posture, gathering his charges together. It also reminds other males that he has survived the night. When herd stallions meet, it is with only ritual antagonism. They greet gently, and the display of a mild mock fight shows their mutual respect. Other predators are attracted to the young foals. African wild dogs come in to try their luck as well. They're more of a danger to the foals than to the adults, but these fleet-footed dogs are the most efficient hunters in Africa. Now another reason for the zebra's complex stripe pattern becomes apparent. It is a daunting experience for any predator trying to penetrate the confusing mass of striped legs and bodies that shield the foals within. When the dogs try to run the foals down, a line of adults forms up. The adults are all males, a mixture of stallions and bachelors united in the defense of the young. Even bachelors with no offspring cooperate in this defense. Threatening lip-smacking behavior makes their position clear. The wild dogs are blocked by the males, and the situation diffuses. The young male is eager to rejoin his father after the wild dog attack. An unusual system governs the relationship between fathers and sons. Male foals within a kinship group stay secure in that unit as long as they want to. The dominant male stallion won't force sons to leave, and a long-lasting male bond exists between them. A stallion grooms his favorite mare more than others. The sensation of being groomed is apparently enjoyable, even while alone. As they grow up, the foals take the lessons of life from the adults. The actions are closely watched and imitated. No matter how individual, zebras are also true herding animals. When some of them rest with raised hocks and flattened ears, they all settle down. They do everything together, as if by a timetable. A zebra's gestation period is roughly 1 year. As foals are born, the females come into heat again almost immediately. In this, zebras are unlike most other mammals. In other species, females with young still nursing refuse to mate, and estrus is postponed. But among zebras, courtship games begin in the foaling season. Estrus signs, like the flattened ears, are more obvious in younger mares. Their courtship is strenuous and diligent. If a stallion is killed or injured, a new male will take over the kinship group. When he does, he will inherit all the females and their young. But he may get rid of the unborn foals of the previous stallion. Zebras are equipped with unusually long penises that could cause the mares to miscarry. The females would then come into heat again almost immediately, so the stallion could then sire his own offspring. When the bachelors catch the scent of a young female in heat, they display the usual Flehmen smelling behavior. The bachelor hierarchy has been established by the constant displays and testing. But now last-minute jostling determines precisely who will venture out to court the young mare. She has slipped away from her father and immediate family group, and she attracts the most eligible young bachelor. The young male is already thick in the neck and strong of body. By racing out and displaying, he attempts to abduct the female, but the father soon notices her absence. Across the herd, he sees what the bachelor is up to. The bachelor pushes and leads the female further and further from her father's group. The stallion runs in to retrieve his daughter. He first isolates the young mare and dispatches her towards her family, and then turns to deal with the bachelor. The fighting is vicious. The stallion's intention is not to keep his daughter for mating, but to test the bachelors and fight off the weaker ones. The bachelor is a good match for the father. Both have thick necks and stout bodies that they use in a battle of strength, speed, and cunning. The stallion keeps the pressure on by chasing and biting the bachelor. Serious fighting is rare, but this is the occasion for it. The only way for a bachelor to begin his own herd is to first confront a kinship stallion. The object is to bite the neck or hocks, or to neck wrestle the opponent into submission. An even match can carry on for hours, exhausting both stallions. Foals watch and imitate, practicing for the day they may have to challenge a kinship stallion. The test goes on until a truce is made, almost simultaneously. The bachelor has held his own against the father and has won his prize. He will have the first mare of his own kinship group. Ironically, even now, the young mare may not allow copulation until later, after he has defended her for months. The full moon offers a reprieve from the intense hunting. In the moonlight, the stripe patterns break up their shape, camouflaging the zebras in this nighttime world of black and white. When the heavy thunderstorms rake the savanna, the zebras bunch together, preparing to move on again. Although grazing and water is abundant, the pressure from predators has been intense. Over 2 months, lions and hyenas have become so plentiful that it is impossible to avoid them. The patterns in the grass appear again. The painted horses string out in orderly single files. From Savuti, the migration turns due south, heading for the Mbabe Depression. In the Mbabe, the burst of rain floods the savanna in inches of sheet water. It's more than enough to deter the hunters. Lions prefer not to hunt in water. The journey is slow, each group walking at the pace of the slowest member. Almost every kinship group has had a run-in with death. Some survivors have come too close to the raking claws of lions and those dreadful snapping jaws of hyenas. Within the safety of the flooded grasslands, the zebras will spend at least 6 weeks, with good water and adequate food. Finally, in Mbabe, they can relax and let their wounds heal. Once again, they break into smaller groups and disperse. Wildebeest and zebra herds gather together occasionally, mixing freely. They coexist because they eat different parts of the same grass. Zebras eat the upper leafy sections, while wildebeest eat what is left. But unlike zebras, wildebeest are noisy characters that seem to run and play for sheer pleasure. In the confusion, a very young wildebeest calf is separated from his mother and tries to join in the games. He is rejected by the clownish adults and is chased even further from his mother. Unlike zebras that can rely on stripe patterns, wildebeest need to confirm identity by smell. If the smell is wrong, the calf will be rejected. There is no adoption system here either. Because of their noisy habits, wildebeest are often avoided. Calling out in distress, the young wildebeest could attract predators. The zebras locate the call and attack. The lost calf is a danger to them. In a display of aggression never before documented, the calf is kicked and finally put to death. The sheet water dries. Pans shrink and disappear. Zebras resort to drinking the last mouthfuls of muddy water in the Mbabe Depression before aiming their faces into the light northerly wind. They have been in Mbabe just 6 weeks. Quite suddenly, the season changes, and the migration starts back northward towards Savuti. For late foals, this is the last chance to prepare for those ghastly plains ahead. They exercise by running and turning as a unit, stretching the gait of the youngsters. Ahead, they will need the speed and confidence. Any mistake, like an accidental knockdown, would be fatal. Since the migration left Savuti, the predators have had no zebras or other migrating animals to feed on. It's been hard hunting. Not much has been going on, and any signs of the migration are eagerly awaited. The zebras have arrived. Like spirits, they float through the ancient tree line, bodies dancing on the heat haze, feet and legs lost in the mirage. They explode into Savuti, well-rested, well-fed, and ready for those that are waiting. The hyenas are quick to rise to the challenge. Now most of the foals have grown past the vulnerable stage. The late births are sought out by hyenas. Even during the day, they gather to pick from the encircled young. The only way is to scare the herd into a run. If they stand together, no hyena will get through the defense. But these hyenas are experienced and eager. The zebras panic and break for the trees. It is a fatal mistake. With the clock ticking, the adults all turn to rescue the foal. But time slips by and the foal is lost forever. Ironically, even though the slaying of a foal is most disturbing to us, the ecological damage is far less than from the loss of a full-grown zebra. The young are expendable when compared to the stronger and more experienced adults. On the northward run, many more adults are killed by lions. As older mares and stallions are cut down, knowledge accumulated over countless seasons of migrations are lost to the tooth and the claw. Survival in Savuti has become too costly now, and soon the migration must move on. How the decision is made or who makes it is impossible to tell, but quite suddenly the herds move out, climbing the ancient sand dunes that mark the edge of Savuti. Ahead, over the sand ridge, the woodland harbors nomadic beasts of prey that speed the herds to their destiny. They travel northwest along ancient paths that weave across 70 miles or more, back towards their starting point, the Linyanti River. No two migrations are the same, but each year the zebras disperse across the lush floodplains and into the mysterious forest for up to 6 months. In family units again, they draw water along the river.